Hi, team. My name is Jory Pauletti, as many of you know. I am the finance and sales manager here at JM Lexus. What I do on a day to day basis is give a world class experience to our guests, which has always been a Lexus priority. I want to go over a couple of challenges we've been facing and some solutions and symptoms and effects that are affecting us every day. Retail in general is going through a global pandemic and a different way of doing business in general. Have you ever walked into a store recently and just felt anxiety and confusion about what to do with your hands, where to go, how to interact with people? That is sort of what's going on everywhere and affecting retail in general the most. What we do every day is to sell a luxury vehicle and give the best experience to guests as possible. Doing that from 6 feet away while wearing a mask and gloves and constantly washing our hands and sanitizing is throwing a mix and throwing a curveball at an already challenging career. So for me, I think it is a huge priority to find solutions and adapt to this new way of life with the virus. The first thing I want to talk about is the bad reviews. So, reviews and experiences, our guests are used to a world class experience and having to deal with no coffee, no bistro, no accommodations of food or water or any drinks whatsoever is definitely affecting the experience that we normally give where a guest is a guest in our own home. Accommodating them in any way, shape, or form is a difficulty. You are not allowed to sit within 6 feet or stand within 6 feet of a guest, and being in a car that is no wider than 5 feet is definitely difficult. So becoming adapted or adaptable to new solutions and new ways of doing business. I think the best way to navigate this is to do as much virtual as possible. Virtual interactions, educating the guests ahead of time, collecting as much information as possible ahead of time, and updating our programs to adapt to this as well is a huge priority. Pros of this is everything's going to be much smoother, more efficient. The guests will not stay at our dealership as long as they have been, trying to navigate the CDC guidelines and the Department of Health guidelines. Just being as virtual and signing them virtual is going to avoid all of that. So I think that's definitely a huge solution to the reviews. Educating a guest is very difficult. They're used to certain ways of doing business and certain ways of going through buying a car and the process involved in that. I think to acknowledge the elephant in the room and tell them about the guidelines and tell them about our restrictions ahead of time is a huge priority. Removing risk of being in contact face to face is definitely a pro and a solution by doing business virtually. I think in the end, the confusion that's going on between sales manager and guests is definitely causing some anxiety and some stress on both sides. So what we would have to do is educate sales managers on how to interact. The con to that is taking them off the floor, putting them in classes, maybe to learn the new technology and learn the guidelines. This is going to cause you to come outside of selling and meeting your quota and to learn something new, but eventually will slingshot you into a more efficient and quicker approach. Interacting with guests virtually and signing them virtually is going to help in closing that gap of lengthy time that the guest is sitting in the showroom. Based on my research, about 30% of the guests walk out of the showroom. They don't want to be in the building. They want to be outside in their car or outside in general to sign paperwork. This is going to help get the guest outside or have a very, very little window of them inside the building. So in general, sales is collecting data, collecting information, giving an experience, world-class experience, and being able to conduct that virtually, being able to educate the guest is going to be a huge priority, and I think the biggest solution. And we'll see how that goes, and reporting the analytics and changing things up. And hopefully we will all be accustomed to this new way of life, as they say, into 2021 and maybe even 2022. Thanks so much.